Grizzly, read, Green Tier 3 Hero. Inside the hall, the grizzly bear sat obediently to one side. His face remained pale, still radiating the joy of being a hero. Grizzly, congratulations on becoming a hero, Fang Hao said with a smile. Unexpectedly, the grizzly bear actually became her hero's nickname. Yes, master, you're a hero now. No one will dare to challenge your position anymore, Mealy chimed in. Mealy learned a lot of practical experience while following the grizzlies in the mountain stronghold, but their personalities are more like the bandits now. Sometimes he would start swearing, and Yer would hit him several times. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mealy. I promise I won't let you down in the future. Grizzly Bear loudly promised. Well, now that you're a hero, what are your thoughts? You can stay, or you can go back and continue managing your city. Fang Hao looked at Grizzly Bear, wanting to hear her opinion. The grizzly bear remained silent for a moment. He said, My lord, I want to go back and continue managing that city. There are quite a few people gathered there, and if I leave, they are likely to run into trouble. Everyone has different ideas. If Njia and Yer were to choose, they definitely wouldn't choose to manage any city. Instead, he stayed in the city, planted flowers, and read novels. A stable life. But the grizzly bears are completely different from them. They have their own ideas. Okay, Fang Hao nodded, then said, Mealy, take your master to warehouse and pick out a set of purple gear. If you still want to wear this bearskin, send it to the tanner and have it made into a cloak for you. Yes, master. Mealy jumped up and pulled the grizzly bear outside. During this time, Fang Hao also began to examine the grizzly bear's attributes. Grizzly, read, Green Tier 3 Hero. Faction, Human. Template, Green. Racial trait, Living beings, Human essence. Learning dot. Legion skill, Mountain warrior leader, Melee commander, denies faith. Skills, Charge, Power, Ferocity, Intimidating shout, Furious, slashed. Fixed skills, Advanced strength mastery, Advanced melee mastery. Leader of the mountain warriors. The army under the command of this unit gains plus 25% movement speed and plus 15% attack power in mountainous environments. Denied faith. The army under this unit is unaffected by abnormal induction skills. Charge, active. Movement speed plus 10%. Attack power plus 5%. Powerful, active. Strength plus 15%. Vicious, passive. When at a disadvantage, all attributes increase by 15%. Intimidating shout, active. A fierce shout that causes the target to experience brief and obvious panic. Raging slash, active. Deals 210% physical damage to a single enemy. 30% chance to enter the raging state. Fury, reduces attack interval by 25% for 10 seconds. Description. Every winter, unidentified corpses appear in the mountains. A desperate mother leaves her tightly wrapped child in a gray bear skin at the entrance of the mountain camp, hoping the child will survive. Perhaps the grizzlies' rise is simply due to their performance in the bandits' battles. Even for someone as young as Grizzlies to become a hero is already a testament to his talent. But their skills are pitifully few, and it wasn't particularly effective either. In fact, it's probably only slightly better than regular bandits. It seems we need to arrange some training for Grizzly, and it would be best to hire a coach to teach her. Although grizzly bears may not be needed within the territory, but I also hope that everyone under my command can have their own life. As Fang Hao was thinking, Grizzly Bear and Mealy also came back. At this moment, Grizzly Bear had changed into a set of temple guard suit, which was glittering with gold all over, and he was holding a large cleaver, looking very imposing. That bearskin was probably sent to the tanner at Fang Hao's request. It wasn't draped over his body. Thank you, sir, Grizzly said again. In the past, even if she had subdued all the surrounding mountain strongholds, she would not have been able to possess so many things. Even after reaching Tier 10, there's nowhere to advance to hero rank. Now everything is fine. We have everything. Sit down. You can take this outfit with you. You don't need to wear it right away. It's quite hot today. When you leave, I'll prepare some more blue outfits for you and equip your soldier there as well, Fang Hao said with a smile. Fang Hao also checked on the situation with the grizzlies. Aside from the greatsword infantry he left her, the rest of the militia equipment was a mixed bag, including heavy leather armor. It's time to give them a new set of clothes and provide them with some other supplies as well. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Grizzly Bear thanked him repeatedly. He immediately took off his armor, revealing his chest, which was taut with straps, and his well-built abdomen. It was then that Fang Hao noticed a bear head tattoo on the side of the grizzly bear's lower abdomen. All right, Grizzly stay for dinner tonight. Mealy, you take her around the city first. Then go to the shooting range to practice your shooting. Don't hurt yourself. Oh, okay, master. Mealy put the armor she had taken off aside and pulled the grizzly bear outside. Master, have you heard of a pistol? It's very powerful. Dusk falls. Maids prepared a sumptuous dinner. Besides the grizzly bears who stayed to finish their meal, Lizard Folk Queen, who had been shopping all day, was also at the table. I heard that Dimitrika took her around Lysis for a whole day. Rebecca took it very seriously when she learned that Lizard Folk Queen was coming. They arranged for many guards to accompany her, as if they were afraid that the queen would die in her own city. The banquet went very smoothly, and Fang Hao's side didn't have many rules. Yer, Xiaobai, Mealy, and Grizzly can all eat at the table. However, the few lizard man guards accompanying the queen dared not sit at the same table as her under any circumstances, sitting to the side, eating in small bites. Meanwhile, on the other side, unlike the cheerful laughter on Fang Hao's side, Ma Tianyi, on the other hand, was filled with anxiety and worry. In the end, I still didn't receive a reply from anyone. Looking at the Lord's book, the Alliance channel kept popping up with questions. It was filled with helplessness. Leader, is anyone willing to help us? Right now, everyone in the channel is talking about us. I also contacted some friends, but they all said that even with so many people in our Shanghai Alliance, we couldn't stop the demon. Anyone who comes will only be throwing their lives away. Does this mean we really have to relocate as a whole? I don't want to leave. It was so hard to build up this city. At Ma Tianyi, Alliance leader, what's the situation? Is there any definite news? Ma Tianyi had been watching the chat in the Alliance channel the whole time. He still clung to a sliver of hope, hoping someone would contact him and offer to send troops to help. But so far we haven't received any news. Now that someone has tagged him in the Alliance channel, he can no longer pretend he didn't see it. He took a deep breath and said, "There are no reinforcements. Everyone, prepare tonight and load everything you can carry onto the wagons. Tomorrow morning, we will move together to the Human Federation." Even though the members had already guessed it. But as soon as he said that, the channel exploded. How could this be? Is there really no other way? How about paying more money? The messages appearing one after another show that no one is willing to leave. But it seems that if they stay, not only will the city be lost, but they will all die here. Ma Tianyi continued. As long as people are alive, there is hope. Let's make all the preparations tonight and leave together first thing tomorrow morning. All replies have been received. There was a long silence in the channel. Only then did they start appearing one by one. The moon rises above the treetops. Fang Hao saw off Lizard Folk Queen and then sent Grizzly Bear back to his city. After explaining things to Yer and the others, he then used teleportation to travel to Lysis City. After finding out where Rebecca was, he headed towards the courtyard. The moon and stars are sparse. Rebecca sat in a rocking chair by the pool, a bright nightstone hanging from a treetop nearby. A light blue long dress swayed back and forth with the rocking chair. Seeing Fang Hao approaching, she moved aside to let him sit down as well. The two squeezed into a rocking chair. The rocking chair swayed gently, and the chains hanging down made a taut sound. "You're really daring, sending a queen here for a visit. Aren't you afraid something might happen, and the lizard man might come after you to fight you to the death?" Fang Hao put his arm around her waist and said, "That's why I sent you here. It would have been more dangerous if I had sent you somewhere else." "Hey, you," Rebecca said angrily, nudging her with her elbow. Actually, Rebecca did gain something from the experience. After receiving the Lizard Folk Queen, both sides had a preliminary understanding of each other. If the opportunity arises, Rebecca would also like to cooperate with the Lizard Man to sell goods from Lysis City to them. If we succeed, the rewards will be enormous. Fang Hao could only chuckle as his ribs were pushed against him. "You missed me? That's why you were in such a hurry to have me come over." Before Rebecca could answer, Fang Hao turned his head, leaned close to her ear, kissed her on the cheek, and said, "I missed you too, but I was afraid Lorana would catch me." A wisp of warm breath brushed against her ear, making Rebecca flinch uncomfortably. He blurted out instinctively, "Lorana went back to Blood Fortress." After saying that, I felt like I was implying something. He immediately added, "Who missed you? I called you here because I have something to tell you." "What is it?" Fang Hao exerted a little force, and the rocking chair rocked back and forth. "Tomorrow, the council will elect a transmigrator to unify all transmigrators within the territory," Rebecca said. "Oh, it's already this late? I almost forgot." Li Rong mentioned this to him a couple of days ago. The parliamentary nomination of transmigrators representatives also mentioned that Su Haid might not be dead. Fang Hao meant for Li Rong to participate, but as for Suhaid, that still needs to be confirmed. If he's really not dead, then we'll find a way to kill him. There's one nomination spot in Lysis City. Should we submit your name? Rebecca asked, grabbing the fidgeting hand. Forget it. When the time comes in Lysis City, just support Li Rong. I won't get involved. Okay, that's fine too. Do you have any news about Suhaid? Fang Hao continued to ask. Rebecca was slightly taken aback. Wasn't Suhaid dead? It seems that Lysis City has not received any news. Even after joining the upper council, there were still some things that I deliberately avoided doing with them. It's all right. Tomorrow at the council meeting, we'll just support Li Rong and let the Mage Association see our goodwill and that we're an ally. Okay, sure. Rebecca leaned on his shoulder, letting the rocking chair rock gently. After a while, Rebecca continued, What would you like to drink? I'll have someone bring it to you. Fang Hao thought for a moment, then took out a bottle of fruit wine from his storage space. This was brought by the Lizard Queen. Only royalty can drink it. Upon hearing that it was for the Queen, Rebecca was somewhat tempted. Even though she has been the city lord for so many years, she is still far inferior to the Queen. She took the fruit wine, uncorked it, and took a small sip with her red lips. Her glistening tongue tip licked her lower lip, as if savoring it. How is it? What does it taste like? It's quite sweet and a little sour. Not bad. You should try it, he said, handing it over. Fang Hao didn't take it, but pointed to the other person's mouth. Rebecca blushed instantly and glanced cautiously around. She picked up the bottle, took a sip, and then pressed her red lips to Fang Hao's lips. Glug, glug. The rocking chair stopped. Rebecca pressed her entire body against him. Fang Hao was pinned down on the chair, enjoying the pressure from the soft, voluptuous body, while her legs had to maintain the balance of the rocking chair. Both hands slid down the spine to the waist and hips. Rebecca's expression shifted slightly, and she said, Are you crazy? The city lord's mansion in Lysis is quite different from what it used to be. In addition to increasing the number of personal guards, Fang Hao also deployed a large number of greatsword infantry and storm crossbowmen. If you really do something, it's hard to say whether someone will notice. Keep your voice down. It should be all right, right? Fang Hao said softly. What nonsense are you talking about? Rebecca said angrily. Is this a matter of speaking loudly or softly? The guards patrol regularly. The whining and groaning will surely attract the attention of the guards around. If we then assume there are assassins or a large number of guards surrounding us, we'll be incredibly embarrassed. Seeing that Rebecca refused, he had no choice but to say, Shall we go back inside? Let's stay a little longer. There are so many stars tonight, and the moon is so round. Fang Hao pulled her chest open a little, reached inside, and echoed, so big and round, so nice. You're always so frivolous. Sigh, can you please stop touching me like that? The next day, early morning, horse-drawn carts loaded with goods gathered in the city. The soldiers donned their gear, and ordinary residents were also given leather armor and spears. Everyone packed what they could carry, making final preparations before setting off. Nobody knows what will happen next. Ma Tianyi stood still, looking up at the towering lord's manor. He remained silent for a long time. To be honest, he regretted it a little. If that stone gate hadn't been opened, so many people wouldn't have died, and everyone wouldn't have been forced to abandon their city and leave the city they had painstakingly built. But it was all too late. All they can do now is leave this place. My lord, the carriage is ready. Let's leave as soon as possible. The orc hero with huge fangs walked over and said softly. Ma Tianyi glanced at Lord's manor again, then looked around at the familiar surroundings. He said solemnly, Let's go, let's leave. The carriage started to move, and the wheels creaked as they struggled to move. They formed a long line and headed southwest towards the agreed-upon location, Silverwing City, Parliament Hall. Elegant music once again filled the hall as all the councillors entered the meeting room one after another. Everything seemed to have returned to what it was before. The members of Parliament chatted in small groups as they sat down in their respective seats. How are you feeling? Nervous? Jijilia asked softly as she led Li Rong into the council hall. Although Li Rong had been in contact with the aristocratic circle for a long time and represented the Mage Association, she went to Shantae Yao Fortress to fight against the undead. But this was her first time participating in Parliament. The last time I was assassinated, it was at most a report to the police, not a matter of participating in parliamentary decision-making. Li Rong said, I'm not nervous. I wouldn't say I was nervous, but I still had some worries in my heart. It's not Parliament, it's Suhaid. After learning that Suhaid was very likely not dead, she went back and asked Morse. At the time, Morse was worried that someone might use abilities like talking to the dead on Suhaid. Unexpectedly, the church resurrected the person, but Morse was certain that with Suhaid's abilities, he absolutely could not have seen him. Li Rong felt much relieved after receiving Morse's reply, but was also worried that there might be some oversight. After all, what he did was dishonorable, and when the Federation found out, he had no choice but to run away. Don't be nervous. Our Mage Association rarely participates in council matters. It's just a formality. Jijilia continued. Understood, Ms. Jijilia. Jijilia sat down in her seat, while Li Rong sat down beside her. The hall was in chaos until 8 o'clock. A loud bell rang, and the entire hall fell silent instantly. 6 members of the upper council walked out from above and took their seats. Doherty, still in charge of the seating arrangement, spoke first. The main purpose of this council meeting is to elect representatives of the transmigrators. Please welcome the elected transmigrators to the room. In the long corridor on one side, 3 figures emerged. When Li Rong saw the man at the head of the group, dressed in a church robe, her pupils suddenly contracted. Suhaid, he really didn't die? Not only Li Rong, but the entire audience erupted in murmurs the moment they saw Suhaid. Clearly, no one expected that someone who had already been officially declared dead would reappear. Li Rong, go. Jijilia whispered a reminder. Oh, okay. Li Rong also got up and walked outside. When passing by Suhaid, Li Rong still showed appropriate surprise, trying his best to behave like a normal acquaintance after discovering his resurrection. Suhaid, you're alive? Suhaid looked at her carefully and nodded, saying, yes. After they finished speaking, they stopped talking and stood between the upper council and the House of Commons. Doherty said, the Hall of Justice recommends Wei Yongwei. This is a robust young man, reportedly trained by the Hall of Justice. Because he appeared relatively late, this is the first time everyone has seen him. Wei Yonghui stepped forward and bowed slightly. Church of Light, nominee, Suhaid. Splash. As soon as he finished speaking, a round of applause broke out in the House of Commons. Whether it was the power of the church or Suhaid's own influence in the council, he did indeed gain the support of quite a few people. Mage Association, Lysis City, nominee, Li Rong. Whoosh. Li Rong stepped forward and gave a slight bow. Applause also rang out from below, but not as much as Suhaid's. The city lord and councilors jointly recommend Fu Inkai as their candidate. The other 3 glanced at him simultaneously, and only when they heard his name did they realize that he was Fu Inkai. Unlike Suhaid and Li Rong, Fu Inkai is more famous in the channel. The Beacon Alliance, led by Fu Inkai. He was also a figure who could command a large following. Unexpectedly, he was also within the Federation's territory and was even nominated as one of the candidates. Fu Inkai noticed the gazes and smiled and nodded at the 3 of them. Then he stepped forward and bowed to those below. After all 4 people had finished introducing themselves, Doherty continued, all right, let's start voting now. The members of the House of Commons rose. Begin voting from the pre-prepared boxes. The voting ended quickly. Doherty announced, the transmigrators have been selected. The church, Suhaid. Splash. Below, thunderous applause and cheers erupted. It seemed to be the expectation of all. Congratulations, Suhaid. Congratulations, Suhaid. Haha, congratulations. The 3 shook hands and congratulated each other. Squeak, squeak. The carriage continued its slow journey. Hoarding is a common problem among many transmigrators. They don't want to throw away anything they've painstakingly accumulated, such as food, utensils, and resources. Let this migrating convoy be like a long snake connecting the roads. It has no end in sight. Brother Ma, Diningning and a few other women are crying again in the back. The whole convoy looks like a funeral procession because of their crying. Go and talk to them. A transmigrators rode up and said directly, no one wants to leave, but everyone's capacity to bear it is different. The men were somewhat better off, but the girls in the group, after leaving the city they had worked so hard to build, they began to feel reluctant to part, and after gathering together, they started crying. This made the atmosphere in the entire convoy even more gloomy. Ma Tianyi mounted his horse and arrived at the carriage in the middle of the procession. As soon as I got close, I heard the girl sobbing. What's wrong? Brother Ma, is it true that we'll never be able to come back? A girl cried. Not necessarily. We might come back when we have the chance in the future, but then the city will be gone. We don't want to leave. The transmigrators all around also approached, waiting for Ma Tianyi's answer. Ma Tianyi sighed and said, just survive. As long as we're alive, there's hope. Before the women could continue speaking, a man behind them said, Brother Ma, If it doesn't work, let's try one more time and see if we can close that stone door. If we keep going like this, we might not be able to get out of the orc territory. The group had only been walking for a morning. They had already encountered no fewer than 3 waves of orc tribes probing them. Here, orcs and bandits are no different. Their loads of goods have already attracted the attention of countless orcs. Even if you've left the demon's attack range, you might not be able to get out. Who knows what enemies we'll encounter next? If we stay, we'll all die. As long as we live, we have hope. If we die, we have nothing. Ma Tiany's tone suddenly became more serious. Bite. Just behind them, someone was quietly comforting several crying women. Ma Tiany then heard the sound of Lord's book sending a private message. He glanced back unconsciously, sending a message at this time. Could it be that someone overslept and missed the meeting and departure time? He waved for the others to continue chatting, while simultaneously opening the Lord's book to take a look. Dong Jiayu, how could it be her? Despite my doubts, I still clicked on the content. Leader Ma, Fang Hao wants you to go to tavern again to discuss the matter of fighting the demons in detail. Ma Tiany was overjoyed, but he quickly calmed down. What use is Fang Hao alone? Not to mention that they have already left. Returning to the city to Merchant Alliance outpost would only slow down the march. Moreover, the sheer number of demons is far beyond what one or a few army members can handle. After thinking for a moment, he said, "Please thank Boss Fang Hao for me, but let's forget about it. There are too many demons, and it would only be a waste of Boss's resources." There was a moment of silence on the other end, but the message was sent shortly afterward. "I advise you to go and discuss it with him. If Brother Hao agrees, he can naturally help you solve the problem." Ma Tiany was stunned, so confident. Parliament concluded amidst thunderous applause. The counselors left the room. The 4 transmigrators also walked outside together. Li Rong showed even more curiosity and asked, "Suhaid, your church can resurrect? Is that a skill? How do you do it?" A seasoned businessman, Li Rong knew exactly what kind of expression she should make. As long as the church doesn't use its interrogation skills on her, she'll insist that Suhaid's death has nothing to do with her. Upon hearing Li Rong's words, Wei Yonghui and Fu Yingkai, who were standing to the side, also looked at Suhaid. Wei Yonghui, who lives in Silverwing City, still knows about Suhaid, but Fu Yingkai had absolutely no idea. The fact that the dead can be resurrected is something that transmigrators, who are very concerned about their own safety, are particularly interested in. Yes, is it a prop or a skill from the church? Wei Yonghui asked. Fu Yingkai asked, "What happened?" "Suhaid died." Suhaid gave Li Rong a deep look, then forced a smile at the other two and said, "It's related to the church, but I can't say for sure." Does the church need more people?" Yes. Do you need anyone?" "Well, I'll ask around for you guys, but I can't really say for sure." Perhaps because he had died once, Suhaid was no longer as arrogant as before. Li Rong followed behind and asked, "Suhaid, now that you're the transmigrator's representative, what's your first plan? You'll have to give us some benefits, right?" "That's right. We should at least be given some troops and equipment," Fu Yingkai said. "He is the leader of the alliance, and he lives quite far away from here. If there's anything good about Suhaid, I might as well lend a hand. If you're not getting any benefits and are just using this title to point fingers, then don't blame me for disconnecting. I won't hear a word you say." "We'll have to see what policies the parliament has then," Suhaid said. "Give me some information. You must know something," Wei Yonghui said. Suhaid pondered for a moment and said, "The first step should be to integrate the transmigrators in and around Silverwing City so that they can be managed and planned." Li Rong narrowed her eyes. She was all around her. The group walked and talked until they left the hall. Jijilia was waiting for her not far away. After greeting the others, she boarded the carriage and slowly drove away. Suhaid, on the other hand, remained standing in place. He frowned and remained silent as he watched the departing carriage. Inside the carriage, Jijilia picked up her water glass, took a sip, and said, "How did Suhaid come back to life?" Everyone was curious. "I've never heard of the church having the ability to resurrect people. If the church truly possesses the power of resurrection, its position within the Human Federation will be even more influential." He only talked about things related to the church and wouldn't say anything more, Li Rong replied. It seems it really is a tactic of the church," Jijilia said. Li Rong continued, "Teacher, I have a friend who wants to invite a monk from the association to teach a class. Is this easy to arrange?" I didn't dare to reply to him directly. "Teaching? A Dharma Master's course?" "Yes, I heard it's some children." Jijilia nodded and said, "It's not difficult to find a teacher to give a lesson, But apart from the association's open courses, the fees for private courses are not low. He's quite wealthy, so money shouldn't be a problem. Also in Silverwing City. No, it's in other cities of the Human Federation. They can provide accommodation and salary, but they just can't find suitable candidates. Li Rong continued. Okay, this is easy. You and your friend double-check the location and payment, and I'll find someone for you. Li Rong's face lit up instantly. Thank you, teacher. You're the best. All right, it's no big deal. Stop yelling. Merchant Alliance, Tavern. Ma Tianyi finally arrived. He had already thought it through. Even if the deal didn't go through, it would only waste some time and wouldn't have a significant impact on him. But what if there really is a way? They could then start over in an unfamiliar place without having to relocate. Take a deep breath while standing in front of the door. I knocked lightly on the door, and after receiving a response, I opened the door and went inside. Inside the room, Fang Hao and Jia were still sitting in the same seats as last time, waiting for him. Boss Fang Hao. Ma Tianyi forced a smile, though it was somewhat stiff. Leader Ma, please have a seat. Ma Tianyi sat down and said directly, I heard from Miss Dong that you are willing to help us. His tone carried a hint of anxiety. I want to know the results immediately. Fang Hao glanced at him, not wanting to play coy, and said directly, Alliance Leader Ma, the reason I had Dong Jia bring you here instead of giving you a direct answer is that I need to make things clear to you in person. Ma Tianyi frowned. Oh, just say it, boss. I can send troops to deal with the demons. But since my military strength is my trump card, I don't want to expose it to outsiders and create unnecessary danger for myself. Fang Hao looked at him. Ma Tianyi was taken aback, pondering the meaning behind the words. You mean, let us leave first? Without checking your forces? But wouldn't you need some guides? After all, unfamiliar terrain can be troublesome. Fang Hao shook his head and said, once I send troops there, some information will inevitably be exposed, so I need to swallow up your alliance. Swallow the alliance? Ma Tianyi's expression immediately changed. What a boastful tone, wanting to swallow his alliance whole. Having put in so much effort to build Shanghai Alliance to its current state, how could I possibly hand it over to him so easily? Boss Fang Hao, are you joking? Leader Ma, if I don't help you, you'll probably have to abandon the city and move away in the next couple of days. At that time, your Shanghai Alliance will be swallowed up by others. Fang Hao paused slightly, giving him time to react. Then he continued, after I solve your problem, you will still lead your members. Only you will become my subordinate city lord instead of the alliance leader. There will be no difference. Most importantly, you and all of you will have preserved your city. Ma Tianyi's expression was rather unpleasant. He felt that Fang Hao was taking advantage of his predicament and trying to swallow up the alliance he had painstakingly built. But the reality is harsh. What he was saying was exactly what he had to face. Even if the alliance moves away, without the city to develop, it's only a matter of time before it's annexed. Suppressing his emotions, he said, how can I trust you to take care of those demons? If I dare to make a promise to you, then I must have a certain degree of confidence. You should also know my reputation in the channel, so there's no need for me to lie to you. Ma Tianyi crossed her arms and stared at him with a frown. After a moment of silence, he said, I need to discuss this with the members. Ma Tianyi did not leave the room, but instead took out the Lord's book and began communicating in the channel. Fang Hao did not disturb them. He chatted quietly with Jia about some recent maid's workouts. After a while, Ma Tianyi put down the Lord's book in his hand and said, we choose to believe you. When can you send troops over? We also need to do our best to slow down the spread of the demons. Upon receiving the reply, Fang Hao smiled. Tomorrow, I will go there. I need a city as a base to recruit troops. You just need to arrange the rest of the members to be in places further away from the battlefield. Huh? Recruiting now? Ma Tianyi frowned even more deeply. Fang Hao's meaning is clearly that he wants to recruit on the spot. On-site recruitment can indeed solve the travel problem. However, the number of soul crystals that transmigrators can store is always limited. Hundreds or thousands. But the number of demons is probably already over 10,000. You don't need to worry about that. I wouldn't risk my life, Fang Hao said. Ma Tianyi wanted to say something more, but in the end she just said, okay, I hope you'll consider it carefully. Okay, give me the Lord's book. After I devour it, I'll divide the city among you. Fang Hao continued. Ma Tianyi hesitated for a moment, but still handed over the Lord's book. Boss Fang Hao, I believe in you, and I hope you can save us. Don't worry, since I said I would. I have the ability to solve the problem. Can devour Lord's book. Then, Ma Tianyi's Lord's book, like a blueprint, transformed into specks of starlight and merged into Fang Hao's Lord's Book. You have gained decision-making power over the territory belonging to Ma Tianyi. Occupied/abandoned. Occupy. It will become your subordinate territory, which can be further developed. Abandoned. You will gain 50% to 80% of the territory's resources. This territory will then be abandoned. Fang Hao chose to occupy the territory directly. You have captured the subordinate territory and own this territory, as well as ownership of 2 affiliated villages. You can set a proxy governor in the Lord's Book. Then, Ma Tianyi was reset to proxy governor, and a new city Lord's Book appeared before him. He handed the city Lord's Book to Ma Tianyi. He repeated his instructions. After you return, start monitoring the demon's movements. Prepare an empty city in the foreground and move all the alliance members to a more distant city to await news. Do not return until the war is over. Okay. Ma Tianyi listened and wrote all of these things down. It seems Fang Hao wasn't lying to him. He really is going to fight the demon. I said everything needs to be taken care of today, and I'll be there first thing tomorrow morning, understand? Understood. I'll go back and prepare now. Okay, that works too. Ma Tianyi nodded, got up, and walked outside. Tavern is out. Ma Tianyi immediately checked his city Lord's Book. There are no functional changes. The Alliance channel is still there, and a new territory channel has been added. I clicked on it out of curiosity. The pinned post is a small notification. New member, Ma Tianyi, has joined the channel. Below are individual messages. Ma Tianyi? Is it the kind of Pegasus with a single horn on its head and wings on its back? This name sounds so familiar, like I've heard it somewhere before. It seems that the leader of Shanghai Alliance has this name. It's probably just a coincidence of names. Hasn't the Shanghai Alliance run into some trouble lately? They might be defecting to our boss, right? It's possible. Is Brother Ma Tianyi here? Do you have any photos of him in women's clothing? Ma Tianyi looked down and did not reply. Although it's impossible to see the number of people in the territory channel, you can tell by the frequency of the message scrolling. There are definitely a lot of people in this territory channel, far more than in their alliance. Good grief. I was just worried that the other party was eyeing my alliance. Their power is far greater than that of our Shanghai Alliance. At this moment, more and more people started appearing in the channel. They demanded that he send photos, specifically photos of himself in women's clothing. The atmosphere in this group is quite cheerful, but the topics are a bit strange. He ignored the people who tagged him and instead used the Alliance channel to tell the members who had gone out to set up camp where they were. They walked quickly toward the teleportation array. He needed to go back as soon as possible and get things done according to Fang Hao's requirements. In the afternoon, we returned to the main city. Lord's Hall remained empty. Maids went to training and was sunbathing in the backyard. You could hear the hee-hee and ha-ha sounds coming from the training field. It gave the entire city a somewhat unorthodox atmosphere. I poured myself a glass of fruit wine and went to the stone table to continue reading. Exploring the map and expanding territory is certainly the direction that transmigrators strive for. But if you have time, enjoying fruit wine and reading a book in the sunshine is actually a good way to live. While striving for development, we must also give ourselves time to relax. After reading for a while, I wrote down the parts of the book that I couldn't understand in my notes. Bite. At that moment, the private message notification sounded again. It's Li Rong. Today is the day Parliament elects transmigrators, and it seems there are results. Opening the private messages, it was indeed about this matter. Suhei did not die. He appeared in the council and became the final candidate for the Transmigrators Council. Good heavens, Suhei really didn't die. From a modern perspective, it's acceptable that the church possesses the skills of resurrection. However, according to intelligence from the Federation, the church has not demonstrated this ability, at least not in the past wars between humans and various races. If humans could be resurrected, then humanity's previous battles wouldn't have been so devastating. I gave the church some thought. I've come to understand some of it. Even though resurrection is a special power of the church, the cost is very high, and it cannot be used lightly. It may even require accumulating power for a long time before it can be used. Otherwise, the church wouldn't have a permanent cemetery where many high-ranking church members are buried. The fact that the church is now using the opportunity of resurrection on Suhei shows how much it values him. The matter of the transmigrators is not as simple as just being elected, so there's no need to rush. When you met him, did he notice anything? This is the important point. If Suhei already suspects Li Rong, then Li Rong has become another dangerous factor. After a brief silence, Li Rong sent another message. He didn't say anything, but I felt he sensed something. Though I'm not sure, Li Rong said. What are your plans? Fang Hao continued to ask. The two sides have already reached this point, and there's really no room for reconciliation. It depends on whether the conflict between the two sides erupted sooner or later. Li Rong replied. Kill him. Okay, but this time you need to think it through carefully. Before a complete break, don't let the church find out that you did it. Understood. Give me the money. Morse can't do anything more. I'll find someone to kill him. I feel like I'm your father, always asking for money every few minutes. You like this kind of thing? Dad, I'll call it to you in person someday. Stop fooling around. Church, did you find anything? The archbishop asked in his usual calm tone. Suhei nodded and said, Li Rong concealed it very well, but I'm even more certain that she did it. The archbishop nodded and continued. You don't need to worry about this matter. Focus your attention on managing and integrating Chinatown. I will arrange for someone to handle Li Rong's situation. Suhei's expression immediately brightened. Letting him go to take revenge will likely leave behind a lot of evidence. After all, Li Rong now has 3 heroes protecting her. An assassin's attempt to kill is highly unlikely to succeed, and may even leave him with leverage over the assassin. But if the archbishop handles this matter, there will be no problem. Killing her is no different than crushing an ant. However, the method needs to be more discreet, since Jijilia of the Mage Association also takes good care of Li Rong. Thank you, Archbishop. I will do my best to complete the task you have entrusted to me. With that, he knelt down in front of him. The Archbishop gently stroked the top of his head. All right, go and prepare. The Hall of Justice is also watching this matter. Put away your usual arrogance and get things done first. Yes, I'll prepare it right away. He bowed again before slowly getting up and leaving the room. After sending some money to Li Rong, Fang Hao also lost interest in reading. Divine Descent releases control of a skeleton ash sparrow and heads towards the hero's quarters. The residential area is very large and surrounded by a beautiful environment. However, the occupancy rate is not high. Most of the heroes were assigned to work outside the region and rarely returned. We've just approached the residence of the Snake Woman, Bayo. Then you can hear the splashing sound of water. Landing on the courtyard wall, one sees a spacious backyard that has been transformed into a huge pool. The Snake Woman, Bayo, moved swiftly through the pool like a fish. They move very nimbly and quickly in the water. Splash! Another sound of water breaking rang out. Bayo burst out from underwater, her thick black hair drawing a graceful arc in the air. Her upper body was bare, revealing her small, firm breasts, covered with glistening water droplets. Depend on. Indeed, it's quite resilient. Fang Hao thought for a moment, then flew down. He went around to the front yard and called out, Bayu, I need to talk to you. Hearing the noise, Bayu quickly put on her clothes and walked from the backyard to the front yard. He looked around, and his gaze fell on Skeleton Ash Sparrow, which was perched on the edge of the fountain. Are you talking? Bayu leaned forward and stared at Gray Sparrow as he asked. I've been living here for a while now. Besides the heroes who came to warn him from time to time, he also encountered various skeleton soldiers. All kinds, no limit to the types. You can find anything. I am Fang Hao. Stop staring at me. This is the power of the undead, Skeleton Ash Sparrow said. Bayu shrank back, coiling itself like a snake. He then said, Oh, it's Lord. What can I do for you? Having confirmed the other party's identity, Bayu corrected her attitude. To be honest, she is quite satisfied with her life here. It was much better than the life of a pirate captain she remembered. This is the life of those noble gentlemen. Now, it's not just about being wary of the other party's strength, but also about not wanting to lose the life I have now. Skeleton Ash Sparrow nodded and said, There will be a battle against demons tomorrow. You should join in. Fighting against demons? Fighting? Is it going to be a war? Or a war with demons? Oh, okay. Around what time tomorrow? Is there anything I need to prepare? Bayu asked immediately, not daring to be careless. Let's go to warehouse later and see if there's any equipment you need. We'll go together first thing tomorrow morning, Fang Hao said. Oh well, okay. Skeleton Ash Sparrow nodded, then flew away. As Bayu drove away in the Skeleton Ash Sparrow, he frowned slightly. Just now in the backyard, did she see a similar Skeleton Ash Sparrow? It was nearing dusk. Ma Tianyi returned to the convoy's campsite. The group sat on the wooden crate, listening to Ma Tianyi recount her meeting with Fang Hao that day. In short, that's how things are settled. Whether we can actually fight the demon remains to be seen until tomorrow. He wants to fight the demons on his own? What a joke. There are tens of thousands of demons. That's right. I think the channel is praising Fang Hao too much, which has made him a bit too confident. Well, I think we should still prepare for a continued evacuation, as there's a high chance it won't be successful. Everyone discussed the matter in turn. Most people still think that Fang Hao is too arrogant, wanting to fight against demons alone. What a joke. However, those who believe Fang Hao has the ability cannot provide any effective evidence. This creates a one-sided trend in the discussion. At this moment, Di Ningning spoke up. No matter what, Fang Hao is willing to help us and is a good person. Even if we fail, we can still continue to migrate without any impact. That makes sense. Even if Fang Hao really has no other options, they still have plenty of time to retreat. There is no difference from the previous plan. The only problem was with Ma Tianyi's Lord's book, which was devoured by the other party. But it's not a big problem, as long as he's alive. Ma Tianyi clapped his hands and said, "All right, everyone, let's proceed according to plan. Everyone will continue to camp here tomorrow and wait for my news. If Fang Hao really can't resist the demons, we'll continue to migrate." "Okay, I understand." "Yes, Alliance leader." Everyone agreed and returned to their tents to rest. Night. Fang Hao arrived at the wishing pool and continued to make wishes. "There's nothing I can do. It's just that I made my wish at night last time. Now, calculating the time, I can only come over tonight." With hands clasped together, I silently prayed to all the gods and deities. Select confirm directly. After a few seconds of stillness, 45 dragon crystals appeared. It splashed into the pool. Hearing the sound of water splashing, Fang Hao opened his eyes with satisfaction, put away all the dragon crystals, and returned to his residence to rest. The next day, early morning, Fang Hao, along with Dimitrika and Jia and Baiyuhu, used the teleportation array. They went directly to Ma Tianyi's territory. Upon seeing Fang Hao appear, along with 1 orange and 2 purple heroes, then Ma Tianyi's expression still betrayed an uncontrollable surprise. "Is everything ready?" Fang Hao asked. Ma Tianyi turned around and immediately said, "Everything is ready. The vacant city is not far away." "Okay, let's not waste any more time. Let's go." The group rode out of the city and arrived directly at a city to the north. Fang Hao did not hesitate. They directly chose to occupy the territory and simultaneously began the faction switch. "Do you wish to convert this city?" "Yes. You can choose to switch factions to Undead faction." Undead faction. A beam of light enveloped the entire city. Conversion complete. Next conversion countdown. 29 days and 59 hours. The city cannot be converted again within 1 month. The light faded, and the transformation was complete. Fang Hao arrived at the open space and successively built a series of troop-type buildings, including skeleton transformation field, burial ground, shooting range, undead mage tower, and binding spirit tower. The entire city was once again enveloped in beams of light. The building took shape little by little in the light. Ma Tianyi stood there, stunned, her eyes wide, looking up at the completed building. Each faction has a very distinctive architectural style. It's immediately obvious that this is the style of undead architecture. Sure enough, the rumors in the channel weren't all nonsense. Fang Hao wasn't just connected to the dead. This is an absolute undead act. A human has actually joined Undead faction. The construction will take some time to complete. "Ma Tianyi, please tell us everything you know," Fang Hao said. A wooden table was moved between the group of people. Ma Tianyi opened his map, pointed to the northeast corner, and said, "This is the area of the stone gate. Demons are constantly appearing from here, and their spread is currently quite extensive in this area. Aside from the described range of spread being expanded compared to the intelligence Xiaoyu brought back, the location of the stone gate remains the same. The information about Xiaoyu is more detailed. The demons have already established a base inside. The city wall and other buildings are under large-scale construction. In the history of this continent, demons are so unpopular because there have been times when demons bewitched kings and wreaked havoc across the continent. This large-scale appearance of demons also shows this trend." After Ma Tianyi finished speaking, Fang Hao looked at the 3 heroes beside him and asked, "What's the plan?" And Jia was fiddling with her fingers, while Baihu also looked distracted. Only Dimitrika remained silent for a moment before speaking. "My lord, according to Lord Ma Tianyi, the demons outside are collecting corpses." Ma Tianyi nodded. "Yes, a large number of corpses are sent to this valley every day. I think that clearing out the scattered demons outside would be too much of a waste of time and resources. We just need to take this valley, and then we can deal with the remaining demons slowly. It will be much easier," Dimitrika said, explaining his plan. Fang Hao understood as well. This means that they will ignore the spread outside and only need to clear out the area inside the valley and close the stone gate. The remaining demons outside can be dealt with gradually later. The main thing is to block the source. Baiyu, what do you think of this plan? Fang Hao asked. The snake woman, who was lost in thought, trembled. With a slightly evasive look in his eyes, he said, "Yes, what he said makes a lot of sense, I agree. The war is about to begin, so everyone be serious." Oh, okay. Soon, the building was completed amidst patches of light. Fang Hao also arrived in front of the building and began recruiting. Hundredfold amplification triggered. Recruiting Spirit Binding Guard 1010. Large numbers of Spirit Binding Guards, their eyes blazing with soul fire, appeared, scattered across the surrounding open ground. Dimitrika led these troops aside and explained what needed to be done next. Fang Hao continued to the barracks and skeleton transformation field to recruit soldiers. Hundredfold amplification triggered. Recruit Skeleton Warrior 20200. Hundredfold amplification triggered. Recruiting Undead Mage 5050. Hundredfold amplification triggered. Recruit Skeleton Archer 5050. Hundredfold amplification triggered. Recruiting Soul Coffin 202. Hundredfold amplification triggered. Recruiting 101 Bone Giants. In an instant, a vast number of undead appeared in the light, filling the entire city. In addition to their numbers exceeding 10,000, there are also the enormous bone giants, which exude a heavy and suffocating sense of oppression. Among the materials for Bone Giant, there is one item called Giant Essence, and Fang Hao only has 2 of them. It was obtained through the World Channel. One will be used here, and the remaining one will be kept for future use. Seeing Ma Tianyi's pale face, Fang Hao said, "Don't just stand by and watch. Take the other species out and arrange them into formations. We'll make equipment for them later." Okay. Ma Tianyi tried calling out, and the skeleton actually obeyed and followed her out of the city. After all the soldiers left, Fang Hao then went to the skeleton transformation field and recruited a large number of skeleton giant bats and skeleton vultures, flight demons used to target enemies. As for Bone Dragon, Fang Hao feels there's no need to recruit him at the moment. With our current forces, I feel we have enough to take down the demons. The Bone Dragon's role is still to protect the main city. After recruiting the troops, Fang Hao began to manufacture equipment and machinery. Large quantities of carts, cannons, and detonators were produced in bulk. Make final preparations. I was busy until 3 p.m. Only then was the undead army truly ready. The endless, densely packed spirits covered every inch of the landscape. Dimitrika, you will lead the infantry. Baiyuhu will lead the mages. And Jia will be in charge of the archers and the soul coffins. Fang Hao announced loudly. Yes, sir. The 3 bowed in unison. All right, let's go. Fang Hao boarded the carriage, while Ma Tianyi rode on the skeleton horse behind. Then, thump, 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 as the drums sounded, accompanied by the clatter of bones and armor, the army began to advance. On horseback, Ma Tianyi followed the group forward. He now understood why Fang Hao was so confident in dealing with the demon. Such a large force, including high-level special units. Even demons can't stop the advance of this undead army. It turns out that Fang Hao wasn't arrogant. They underestimated the strength of the world's #1. My curiosity grew even stronger. What is the recruitment system for these undead? And how can they recruit so many troops? Are recruitment materials really that easy to obtain? Bite. My mind was racing with thoughts. The City Lord's book sent a notification. Ma Tianyi casually opened the chat. It was the Alliance channel, and someone had tagged him at that moment. At Ma Tianyi, how's Brother Ma? Is that guy reliable? It's getting dark. Should we continue camping or move? Yeah. Where's the Alliance leader? Could he have been kidnapped? I doubt it. The Alliance leader and Fang Hao might have already started arguing. Should we go back and help, at least to snatch back the Alliance leader's Lord's book? Still no reply. Probably kidnapped. Let's go back and rescue them. The Shanghai Alliance convoy traveled a long distance. Therefore, not everyone gathered together. They also rely on the Alliance channel to exchange messages. Ma Tianyi was getting anxious as no news came back all day. At this point, Ma Tianyi finally replied to the message. He said, "They're not dead. Fang Hao's side does indeed have the strength to fight against demons. They're currently leading troops to Dust Mud Valley, planning to attack the valley directly and deal with the rest later." These words immediately caused an uproar in the channel. How is that possible? Directly attack Dust Mud Valley? Do they have that many troops? Really? Alliance leader, have you been brainwashed? Do you have any photos? Let us see what kind of troops he has, acting so arrogantly. Just as Ma Tianyi was about to take a picture of the surrounding scenery, she immediately remembered Fang Hao's instructions. He then said directly, "The situation is a bit special. I'll explain it to you when we get back. Everyone, continue to set up camp today. The vice leader will arrange everything. Be careful of orc attacks. Okay, be careful." Night falls. The undead army, like a ghostly army, advanced towards its destination in the darkness without any light. After sweeping through demons along the way, we finally arrived at Dust Mud Valley. Just like its name suggests, the entire valley was filled with thick dust. Even with the dim moonlight, one could still see the constructed walls and the demon soldier standing atop them. Contrary to Xiao Yu's description, the walls are no longer made of wood, covered by a layer of mud and rocks. It appears even taller and more imposing. Meanwhile, the tremors caused by the approaching skeleton army also attracted the attention of the demons in the valley. The sound of horns echoed through the valley, accompanied by the incoherent ravings of demons. The demons in the valley began to boil. The next second, a massive number of demons, like water released from a dam, surged out from the sky and the ground, rushing towards the approaching undead army. Fang Hao is positioned in the center of the army. However, he unleashed the divine descent skill, controlling the heavily armored warrior demon puppet to follow behind the frontline army. As the demon drew closer, they finally saw its true form. Buzzing Demon, Level 6. Giant Claw Demon, Tier 7. Berserker Demon, Tier 8. Giant Bull Demon, Rank 9. The bizarre-shaped demons gradually emerged from the mist and came into view. Buzzing Demon has the shape of a giant bee, with transparent wings behind it and sharp, sword-like mouthparts. The Giant Claw Demon has the head of an animal and the body of a human. Its hands are huge pincers, and it also has 2 short arms under its ribs. The Berserker Demon was covered in scales, resembling a giant toad. The Giant Bull Demon is more similar in appearance to the bull-headed man, with thick hair, a larger size, and an exceptionally ferocious and terrifying appearance. All demons give the impression of being a patchwork of various creatures, bizarre and ferocious. The demon charged at them like a madman. Fang Hao coldly ordered, "Cannon, attack!" Splash! The infantry in the front row moved aside to make room. One by one, the cannons began to have their muzzle heights adjusted. After giving the order, boom, boom, boom. A series of booming sounds echoed throughout the valley. Bang, bang, bang. The next second, the cannonball covered the valley in front, blasting hordes of demons into the sky, their blood and limbs falling everywhere. As Ma Tianyi gazed at the scene before him, his heart pounded violently with each cannon shot. What's going on? How the hell did it turn into modern warfare? Boom, boom, boom. The cannon fire continued, and the fixed valley became a limitation on the demon's spread. Cannonballs can easily cover an entire area of the battlefield. At this moment, Buzzing Demon came into range. Archers attack. The Buzzing Demon that rushed into the firing range began to flap its wings, and waves of energy spread towards the horde of undead below. Terrifying Buzz is a unique control skill of the Buzzing Demon. Living beings affected by the buzzing will enter a state of confusion or even coma. This is also a characteristic of the attack of demons that are not physically dominant. As they charged above the formation, swarms of buzzing demons hovered in the air, unleashing a buzzing energy attack. This move had no effect on the undead, and the heroes only found it a bit jarring. Instead, they remained suspended in the air, becoming fixed targets. Clap, clap, clap. Orange's bullets rained down like a dense net, enveloping the sky. Large swarms of buzzing demons, like meatballs that had been shot and exploded, splattered juices and fell to the ground. He was chopped into mincemeat by the infantry skeleton. That's it. They flew all the way here to deliver vegetables. It can be said that Undead faction currently holds an absolute advantage throughout the entire battle. More and more demons began to break out of the artillery fire's range, their limbs torn and broken, yet they continued to charge forward. Its fierce aura was not much different from that of the dead. Ma Tianyi sat on horseback, his eyes fixed on the battle ahead. Normally, their battles don't have this kind of impact. From his perspective as a human being, it's like a civil war has broken out in hell, with 2 different types of underworld soldiers going head-to-head. They still mustered all their forces and fought a head-on battle here. At this moment, the smoke ahead began to dissipate. The roar of artillery fire also noticeably subsided. Looking ahead with a puzzled expression, one by one, Small skeletons carrying various repair tools ran forward. We began cooling and repairing those cannons. Holy crap, you can't do it now if you need to fix it. Just as Matiani was feeling anxious and restless, suddenly, in the hands of the skeleton warrior at the very front, appeared long spears entwined with silver snakes and crackling with lightning. The lightning spears of tens of thousands of people illuminated the entire battlefield. Lightning strike, fire. A series of commands rang out from the side. Whoosh, sizzle. The dense thunders formed an arc in the sky. It illuminated the entire sky, shining brightly forward. Crackle. The next second, Thunder Spear was thrown into the demon's area, exploding on the ground and spreading out as tiny lightning snakes. Hit by Thunder Spear, demons died in droves, and those affected stood still, their bodies convulsing. This also directly slowed down the enemy's offensive speed. The cannon was repaired quickly. Cannonballs were loaded into the cannon muzzle, and at a command, the deafening roar of the cannons rang out once again. The cannonball roared, unleashing another barrage of attacks. Matiani was stunned. I was completely dumbfounded. How many large-scale battles like this have we experienced? That's fucking amazing. Each step was taken unhurriedly, with perfect timing for connecting the battle. Fang Hao himself has remained inside the carriage to this day, never even peeking out. That's terrifying. That team is terrifying. But it continues to this day. The demons failed to breach the undead's defenses. At worst, only those with missing limbs managed to reach the front lines. After killing several skeleton warriors, he was hacked to death by the remaining skeleton warriors. It has no impact on the army as a whole. Woohoo! At this moment, a sound that sounded like the howl of a wild beast or a horn rang out again from the demon camp. The crazed demons paused, stopped in their tracks, and turned to retreat. They all returned to the camp inside. The city gates were closed. The sudden halt to the fighting brought the central area to an instant silence. In the valley, the lingering smoke gradually dissipated. The ground was exposed, scarred and ravaged, and the rotting corpse of the demon after its death. The smell of gunpowder and rotting corpses filled the air. These demons, after death, do not become corpses like living beings. Instead, the body rotted rapidly, like clumps of flesh piled up with pus and fat. It covered the entire valley. Like a layer, the ground was covered with white tai sway. The smell of gunpowder faded, and the stench of decay quickly spread and permeated the surroundings. Ugh! Matiani gagged twice, then quickly stopped, wet her sleeves with water, and covered her mouth and nose. At that moment, the gates of the demon camp opened again. A buzzing demon reappeared before everyone, its forelegs like spider legs gripping a piece of paper as it flew towards them. Dimitrika immediately ordered no attack, allowing the enemy to land in front of the camp, put down the paper, and fly back. My lord, the demon has sent a letter. A spirit binding guard strode toward the demon puppet and handed it over. Fang Hao controlled demon puppet to take over. Open it and look at the contents. The strangely arranged text must be demonic script. Transmigrators can understand the texts and content of various races, including demonic script. I don't know which immortal monarch's army you belong to, but starting a war is not a wise decision. I hope you can talk to the monarch to avoid further war. Demons are the enemy of all races, but the undead don't have a good reputation either. Perhaps, in the eyes of demons, the undead are the same kind of people as them. Seeing the above content further confirms that there are heroes among the demons. Moreover, this hero is highly intelligent. Instead of insisting on continuing the fight, they wanted to negotiate with the undead. He glanced behind him and said to the spirit binding guard beside him, "Go and check where the mage's army is." The mage's marching speed is slow. This is also why mages are not brought into many battles. However, the combat power of mages should not be underestimated, especially now that their equipment has been updated. Soon, Spirit Binding Guard returned quickly and said, "We can already see the mage team behind us. They should arrive in about half an hour." He looked back and then at the piece of paper in his hand. Since the other party wanted to talk, he was also curious to see what their hero looked like. Incidentally, they also waited for the monk to approach. Fang Hao tossed the piece of paper in his hand and said to the spirit binding guard beside him, "Go ahead and shout that the enemy's hero should negotiate in the middle of the two armies, but don't get too close. Be careful." "Yes, sir." Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Spirit Binding Guard ran out of the queue, stood at the front, and shouted loudly, telling the opposing hero to go to the middle to negotiate. After calling out twice, he turned around and returned to the queue. The opposing demon faction seemed to have fallen into calm. Just as Fang Hao was about to continue his attack, the gates of the demon camp opened again, and through the thick fog, a towering, beast-like demon with horns on its head and demonic wings on its back emerged. He first waved to Undead faction, then walked directly to the middle. They actually came out? They can't be that easily fooled, Fang Hao said directly. Turn the cannons around and fire at that tall guy. Gara. The muzzle begins to adjust its angle without requiring a command. The sound of cannons boomed. A barrage of cannonballs rained down on the location of the demon hero. Amidst the deafening roar, a towering burst of flame erupted from the center. Call! A whooshing sound rang out. The demon hero broke through the dust and smoke somewhat disheveled, soaring directly into the sky. The subsequent explosions had no effect whatsoever. It let out an angry roar at the undead, then turned and flew back to the camp. Seeing that he hadn't been killed by the explosion and had escaped unharmed, he secretly thought it was a pity. Fang Hao didn't want to waste any more time, so he said directly, "All troops, attack. Mages, enter your casting range and unleash magic missiles." After the order was given, the sound of drums began to beat. The white aura of the dead was restored to all units. It emits a grayish-white glow. "Attack!" Dimitrika shouted the order. Splash! The skeleton warriors, swarming with shields and weapons, began their charge. In the blink of an eye, the number of skeletons had covered the entire valley. The bits of flesh left behind by the demon's death were also trampled into mincemeat. However, it was clear that the demon faction had not prepared any special equipment or weapons. Faced with the frenzied undead charging at them, the weapon, which did not inflict much damage, fell. Ready, lightning strike. Splash! The skeleton warriors, having charged a certain distance, came to a sudden stop as if slamming on the brakes. A lightning spear appeared in the skeletal hand on the right. Cast! Call! The silvery white sky ripped through the heavens and descended into the demon camp. After throwing the projectiles, the undead continued their charge. The army of skeletons rushed to the city wall and began to surge together, climbing on each other's bodies as they climbed upwards. Call! Whoosh! At that moment, the giant bull demon on city wall poked its huge bull head out from above. It opened its mouth and spewed out streams of flames, burning the hordes of undead gathered below. The flames it spewed out, though not as fierce and domineering as those of the dragons. However, it also poses a significant obstacle to groups of low-level undead. Large numbers of skulls were burned to ashes, which drifted down in scattered pieces. Fang Hao and the others, who were in the distance, were all taken aback. Demons have all sorts of attack methods. They've got quite a variety. Skeleton Archer was already within firing range, and bullets were clattering against the top of the wall. At this moment, Undead Mage, who was behind, finally entered the battlefield. Whoosh! Whoosh! A dense barrage of magic projectiles tore through the sky and crashed into the camp. Bone Giant, too, moved with heavy steps, approaching city wall. He punched the enemy on city wall one punch after another. Skeleton soldiers below crawled up the Bone Giant's body like ants, leaping out of the hollow body in eye sockets and jumping directly into the city wall. They engaged in a fierce battle with the enemy demons. Below the city wall, hundreds of tall skeletons, each clutching a stone coffin, stood frozen in place. It was as if the war had nothing to do with them. The piercing wail emanating from the stone coffin in front of him was rather chilling. Then, the coffins pulled open a slit in the top of the stone coffin. Accompanied by cries of pain, countless translucent ghosts drifted out. His body passed directly through the stone wall. They pounced on the various demons inside. Ma Tianyi stood behind the undead army. It looked like a dome, constantly hurling magic missiles at the other side. At this point, I no longer knew how to express my feelings. That's terrifying. It was even more terrible than he had originally anticipated. This demonic army, under the attack of the undead army, was like an adult beating a child. The legendary demonic calamity. Is that all? These are a bunch of little monsters. Fight! The voice of City Lord's book rang out again. Ma Tianyi opened it, and it was still the Alliance channel. At Ma Tianyi, "Brother Ma, are you still alive? I'm so worried, I can't sleep." "Yes, Alliance leader, how's the situation? Who has the upper hand in the battle?" It was already past midnight when suddenly, the Alliance erupted in chaos, with everyone jumping out to speak. Whether to stay or leave is something that must be a worry for everyone. Ma Tianyi glanced at the demons who were being overwhelmed, thought for a moment, and said, everything is going smoothly. Fang Hao's army is currently in the lead. If nothing unexpected happens, everyone can go home tomorrow. Wow, the channel exploded even more. Really? They've already gained the upper hand. League leader, are you sure your account hasn't been hacked? Fang Hao is that strong. What's going on? Is Fang Hao going to win? Messages kept appearing. Even though they hoped Fang Hao would win, they still found it hard to believe. Just a few hours ago, Ma Tianyi said they were on their way, and that they had only set up camp for a short time before they were already overwhelmed by the demons. Can you tell that I can go home tomorrow? This is progressing a little too fast. Ma Tianyi also smiled. He continued, okay, just trust me. I'll let everyone know if anything happens. Have a good night's sleep. Oh well, Alliance leader, be careful. If things get too dangerous, run. Give me one. Fang Hao's autograph. Diningning, you've stopped crying, huh? Is this the time to be a fangirl? What does this have to do with you? After hanging up the chat, Ma Tianyi looked back at the battlefield ahead. The city wall of the demon camp has long since been reduced to ruins. The collapsed rubble became a stepping stone for the undead to launch their attack. The mages behind them stopped attacking after several rounds of magic missiles. Skeleton Archer also ceased firing. He stood there, looking dazed and waiting. More melee skeletons, led by Bone Giant, surged in like a flood. They engaged in a fierce battle with the demons. In the air, the skeleton giant bat and skeleton vulture, like dark clouds, covered the sky. Besides the buzzing demon that emits a buzzing attack, there are also some demons with demonic wings that try to fly into the sky to fight. It was also surrounded by swarms of giant bats and vultures, and in the blink of an eye, it was devoured into a pile of minced meat. Fang Hao, controlling the warrior doll, has entered the center of the demon's camp. He easily dispatched 2 demons who charged at him, then climbed onto the collapsed ruins and looked into the depths. In the middle of the camp, the demon hero who had almost been killed by his own explosion was slaying the undead that were rushing towards him. From this distance, Fang Hao finally saw his face clearly. The monster was 5 or 6 meters tall, with a body that resembled a pieced-together orc and a pair of demon horns on its head. He was wearing a suit of armor made of bones, with sharp bone spikes protruding from his shoulders, elbows, and other areas. He held a huge, dark red longsword in his hand. Each sword strike unleashes a flurry of fiery blades, slaying hordes of approaching undead soldier. Fang Hao was startled. I didn't realize this demon hero was so ferocious. He's fighting against so many undead all by himself, and he's still holding on. Lightning strike, attack him. Fang Hao addressed the skeleton warriors around him. Immediately, all the skeleton warriors around him produced thunder spears and threw them at the demon hero in the center from all directions. The crackling and popping sounds filled the surroundings. Rings of lightning spread out, causing the demon to let out continuous wails of agony. Dark red skin, instantly torn open. Numerous wounds appeared. The demon's body was indeed thick-skinned and regenerates very quickly. After lightning strike, the undead around him once again swarmed the demon hero. They started using their traditional tactics, overwhelming numbers. Countless skeletons swarmed in from all directions, slashing, attacking, and pulling, using every possible method to assault the demon hero. Outside, Fang Hao also had a large number of archers brought in, who began to climb up some high ground and fire continuously into the area. Wave after wave of undead surged toward the demon. They can't kill them all, and they can't break through. Roar! The demon hero let out a painful roar and slammed his long sword into the ground. Boom! The next second, the ground in front began to crumble, and streams of fiery magma gushed out from beneath the shattered ground. A sky full of pillars of fire was formed. The flames, imbued with terrifying energy, engulfed all the undead units in the area, turning them all to ashes in just a few seconds due to the intense heat. Vanished completely. In that instant, a vacuum zone formed within a 10-meter radius in front of them, and not a single bone survived. Fang Hao was standing at a distance, yet he could see it clearly. That's incredible. This demon hero has demonstrated formidable power. Even if Dimitrika were to go in, there would likely be danger. Quickly, keep attacking, overwhelm him. Fang Hao waved his hand, beckoning the skeletons behind him to continue advancing. A gap appeared in the undead's path, giving the demon hero a brief respite. He immediately roared and charged in several directions with his heavy sword. The approaching undead soldiers also died in droves under the flames. Fang Hao watched for a while and sensed that something was amiss. He was so fierce, he didn't run or retreat. but instead blocked the way and killed the undead. It's more like they're guarding the stone gate behind them. Is there something inside that needs to be protected? Pay attention slightly to the stone gate behind you. However, some differences were also discovered. Contrary to what Matiani had said, the stone gate was not only cracked open, it had long since been completely opened by the demons. The demon of death, like chunks of flesh resembling a tai sui, covered the ground and extended behind the stone gate. The closer one gets to the stone gate, the more the tai sui scattered on the ground seemed to wriggle slightly, as if they were still alive. It felt like there were blood vessels pulsating underneath. Could they have some other tricks up their sleeve? Fang Hao was even more alarmed. This demon hero is already so difficult to deal with, and then an even more powerful monster emerges from within. Isn't there a possibility of danger? His consciousness immediately returned to the rear, outside the camp. Fang Hao, inside the carriage, opened a crack and said, "Summon Dimitrika." Yes. Soon, Dimitrika approached. "My lord, you wanted to see me? There might be an even greater danger behind the stone door inside. Have skeleton giant bat bring detonator and blow up the demon blocking the doorway," Fang Hao said directly. "Understood, sir," Dimitrika replied and turned to leave. Soon, a swarm of small giant bats took off from the rear of the formation. We entered the airspace above the camp. The target is locked below. The demon hero who has killed the undead is swooping down. Thousands of giant bats. A beam of white bone light descended from the sky, engulfing the demon hero. Boom, boom, boom. The demon hero howled in agony, flapping his wings in an attempt to fly away. But the skeleton giant bat is more like a guided tracking bomb, another swarm rushing in to bombard it. The demon hero was severely injured and fell from the sky. Then, swarms of skeleton giant bats rained down, forming a continuous trail of falling bones. Cover him layer by layer. Boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Explosions rang out one after another. The explosions continued for several minutes before finally subsiding. Before the smoke and dust had even cleared up, the surrounding undead soldiers pounced again, hacking wildly without warning. The sounds of swords slashing echoed through the valley. The sky was already bright. A battle raged from night until dawn. Inside the demon camp, the sounds of fighting gradually ceased, and silence slowly returned. Dimitrika strode over again and reported in a low voice, "My lord, all the demons in the camp have been cleared out. Fang Hao has a demon puppet with him, so he can see what's going on inside. Were any bodies left behind? I was just about to tell the adults that these demons' bodies decompose immediately once they die, but we've found some materials. Oh, let me see it." The skeleton behind him walked over and took out several items. Wriggling spine demons, Fang Hard hoof demon essence, forgotten soul. Wriggling spine doesn't need to be checked. It's a recruitment material dropped after faction battles. Demon Fang. Category: materials. Description: teeth used to tear flesh and blood now seem to have a special purpose. In addition, hard hoof and demon essence are also materials, and the descriptions do not indicate any special uses. Ask Nielsen if he's ever seen anything like this before. After all, in terms of knowledge, Nielsen is as knowledgeable as half a library. Fang Hao's eyes lit up again as he continued looking back. Grayish-white beads. It looks so familiar. Forgotten soul. Indeed, a forgotten soul. I only obtained one of these materials last time at the demon orphanage. He used it in Nisbet recruitment. Nisbet is one of the few units that can be further advanced by recruiting other units. Now all Nisbet members have been upgraded to heroes. However, Fang Hao wanted to continue recruiting, but he lacked this material. If one can obtain a forgotten soul here, then one can also meet Nisbet's recruitment requirements. Recruit more of these soldiers and advance them to become heroes. Then, we can assemble an army composed of heroes. How many of these white beads are there? Fang Hao asked, picking up the beads. Currently, only one has been found on the outskirts. If the entire battlefield is cleaned up, we should be able to find quite a few more, Dimitrika replied. Fang Hao nodded. It would be good if we could find a few. Okay, let's not rush. Have the army gather in front of the stone gate. We'll clean up the battlefield after we've dealt with the area inside the stone gate. Yes, sir. Dimitrika withdrew again, beckoning the various teams to gather in front of the stone gate. Behind the stone gate was pitch black, like an entrance to hell, dark and terrifying. Splash! The lightning-formed owl, Thunder Spirit, flapped its wings and quickly flew into the dark stone gate. After a brief period of darkness and disorientation, visibility returned. The next second, Fang Hao's heart tightened suddenly. The condensed lightning spirit nearly dissipated. This was a vast space, with corpses hanging in midair like upside-down grapes. The body was connected by a series of constantly writhing blood vessels, which twitched incessantly. It seemed to be absorbing some kind of nourishment. Damn it, what's going on here? Fang Hao is surrounded by the dead every day. I've done quite a few things like digging up graves and going down into tombs, but the scene before him really startled him. It wasn't fear of corpses, nor was it disgust at the surrounding flesh and blood. Instead, this scene was chilling and extremely uncomfortable. It's even more impossible to guess what these demons are up to. A large hole has been carved out of the mountain. The white muscles resembled grapevines climbing a rock wall, hanging like human grapes. Suppress your nervousness. Controlling Lei Ling, he continued flying towards the belly of the mountain. Aside from the eeriness, it was quiet inside. The interior was still filled with various corpses, mostly orcs and humans. You can even see a few people dressed as transmigrators. It was also hung upside down from the ceiling, but the body was shriveled and had obviously been dead for a long time. The human corpses were likely left behind by the militia members of the Shanghai Alliance in the last incident. It was used as nourishment for some kind of sacrifice. As they continued deeper in, the number of corpses around them increased, and the oppressive atmosphere grew stronger. Finally, Fang Hao saw what he was looking for. At the end of the cave is a huge stone platform. The surface of the stone platform is covered with layers of fleshy membranes, and its outline resembles that of an altar. Numerous muscles and blood vessels extend from the fascia. Connected to the center is a huge, fleshy embryo. Through the surface, a faint human figure can be seen inside. Holy crap, Fang Hao exclaimed inwardly. He had wondered what kind of terrifying monsters these demons were collecting corpses to create. Unexpectedly, such a massive project, with a huge number of deaths, was actually giving birth to a person. It may not be human, but it has the outline of a human. Just as I was about to disperse the thunder spirit, suddenly, a voice rang out from within the embryo. Are you here to kill me? Did I do something wrong? The sound was crisp and clear, like that of a young child before their voice changed. Fang Hao was taken aback and looked back at the embryo, where the figure inside moved slightly. Thunder spirits belong to the category of detection magic and cannot speak. The embryo's voice rang out again. Did I do something wrong? If possible, could you please not kill me? His voice was choked with sobs and pleading. I don't know where I am, and I don't know what I did wrong. I'll do anything as long as you don't kill me. Please, I just woke up and I've never even seen what this world looks like. I don't want to die, please. The voice of supplication was very sincere, like a child who doesn't yet know what's going on, filled with worry and fear about everything that's about to happen. Fang Hao gave it a deep look, and the thunder spirit dissipated and disappeared. Outside the stone gate, Fang Hao frowned and rubbed his slightly swollen temples. Damn it, what kind of monster is that? Not only Lei Ling heard the sound, but Fang Hao outside the door and the demon puppet he was controlling also heard the pleading voice of the embryo inside. It's as if this voice is resonating in your heart. Sir, did you hear anything? Dimitrika approached again, a voice begging for mercy. Yes, the spirit binding guards all around also heard the voice, as if it were talking to everyone. Dimitrika said. The room was filled with corpses, and these corpses were carrying an embryo. Fang Hao briefly recounted what he had seen. Dimitrika's pupils also contracted slightly, showing some surprise at Fang Hao's description. My lord, so this embryo contains a newly emerged life. Should we examine it first? Dimitrika asked softly. Fang Hao smiled and said, No need. You've forgotten. We transmigrators can see information about units and heroes. They're not new life forms at all. They're just trying to buy time. If we're talking about Lei Ling, he didn't fly in. Fang Hao may have hesitated. After all, the voice and pleading in the other party's words sounded like an innocent child implicated by the criminal parents. But Fang Hao saw his message and dispelled those concerns. Demon filth, Tansek, in revival. Demons are skilled at bewitching and deceiving people. It is not uncommon for demons to bewitch leaders in various accounts. This is also why demons became the enemy of all races. Moreover, the word revival, mentioned above, also signifies that this demon is gradually restoring its power through this ritual. Everything he said was just a way to buy himself time. Oh, my lord, shall we attack directly? Dimitrika continued to ask. Fang Hao nodded and said, You shouldn't go in either, to avoid any danger. Send troops in to attack the innermost embryo. Yes, sir. Dimitrika nodded and immediately gave the order to soldier. Soon, the undead army, which had gathered at the entrance, began to charge inside. He hacked at the corpses and grapes along the way, fighting his way to the innermost part. Roar! Damn it, you damned undead, ugly and lowly souls. Another angry roar filled everyone's minds. The vibrations made my head buzz. The voice was no longer that of a pleading child, but a hoarse voice filled with rage. Splash! Inside the cave, the sounds of fierce fighting erupted once again. Fang Hao reassembled his thunder spirit and followed the undead army into the cave. On the ground and on the roof, among the corpses and grapes, countless fleshy tentacles with clearly visible veins appeared, like whips, lashing at the attacking undead from all directions. The seemingly strange method actually showed a very strong effect. The undead, who were already not very intelligent, began to entangle with those fleshy creatures. The cave was in complete chaos, which somehow managed to hold back the skeletons that were trying to enter. Fang Hao looked on, and a sense of worry began to creep into his heart. Everything this evil filth is doing is just stalling for time. If he really succeeds and manages to revive, that would be terrible. Wouldn't that make things even more complicated for us? The thunder spirit was dispelled once again. My lord, what's the situation inside? Dimitrika asked again. Fang Hao shook his head. The undead are being held back. The other side wants to buy time so that they can complete the revival. I'll take my men in. Fang Hao shook his head again. Wait a little longer, let me think of a way. After pondering for a while, going straight in to fight the other party head-on would likely result in a high risk of encountering danger. Don't mention the other person's strange or unusual abilities. Even if we fight back desperately and inflict some damage on Dimitrika, it's not worth it. Wait a minute, I've exchanged some things, Fang Hao continued. Then he opened the Lord's book and contacted Chao Junming, the transmigrators who remained in Grey Iron City. Chao Junming, have Belirga prepare some kerosene for me. I need it now. Let's exchange it. Oh well, the dwarves' Grey Iron City has a large storage of oil. Since they couldn't break in, and it was just another cave, they simply burned it down. Soon, barrels of kerosene were traded over. Not many, only 8 barrels in total. Have skeleton soldiers move as many of these kerosene barrels as possible inside. Upon seeing the oil drum, Dimitrika understood Fang Hao's thoughts. Immediately have skeleton soldiers grab the oil drums and rush inside. Ignoring the tentacles lashing out from all sides, it charged straight inside. Some of the whippings hit the wooden barrel, and the black, viscous kerosene spilled all over the cave. When everything is almost ready, Fang Hao continued. All right, have all the soldiers step back. Dimitrika immediately ordered that a small number of vigilant undead be left behind. The rest all withdrew from the demon camp. Fang Hao then unleashed divine descent, controlling a skeleton warrior that charged inside with a torch in hand. As soon as you enter the cave, you are greeted by a series of fleshy tentacles. Fang Hao dodged quickly, rushing as far inside as possible. Looking at the traces of kerosene left on the ground, he threw down the torch. Call! In an instant, a huge fire broke out. Then, it quickly spread to the surrounding areas, and when it encountered another spot of oil, the flames rose even higher. The fire was raging skyward. Fang Hao has terminated divine descent. His consciousness returned, and he looked across the entire valley. Even standing outside the camp, you can see the flames shooting into the sky from inside the cave. You damned bastards, I will not let you get away with this. Sooner or later, I will return to this land and crush your bones. An angry roar rang out again. This time, however, his tone was filled with powerless anger. It's because he can't move. Fire is the best way to destroy it. The fire was huge, and in addition to the kerosene, the corpses inside also became fuel for the fire. It seems unlikely that it will be eradicated anytime soon. He ignored the angry roars that were coming from the room. Fang Hao continued. The fire probably won't be extinguished anytime soon. Let's clean up the battlefield first. Yes, sir. Dimitrika agreed and began to assign tasks. Some continued to keep watch inside the cave, while others began cleaning up the battlefield. Organize the spoils of this battle. Silverwing City. A slightly thin young man, accompanied by 3 militiamen, stood somewhat disheveled opposite the church. After glancing at the bustling streets, I turned my attention back to the church entrance. Su Yuanhang. On his 3rd day in Silverwing City, he had wanted to find Fang Hao, but discovered that he didn't know the location of Fang Hao's territory. His friend, who provided him with the teleportation array, suggested that he inform the council about the sea creatures killing the coastal villagers, so he returned to Silverwing City. But he had oversimplified things. What kind of place is Parliament? Would they let him in? Not to mention whether he told anyone. They wouldn't even let him through the gate. In addition, because of his identity as a transmigrators, he was coaxed out several times and treated like a beggar. During this time, he still couldn't sleep at night. Every time he fell asleep, he would see the militiamen and villagers who were locked in the cabin and drowned. There was also a little girl named Cassie, whose clothes were tattered and whose face was scratched, crying and shouting, "Lord brother, I feel so bad." Every moment, these dreams, the sounds that echo in my ears, everything was reminding him that he needed revenge. But he can't even get into Parliament. So how can he talk about revenge? Until yesterday, he heard some news in Chinatown. Suhaid of the church was elected as the representative of the transmigrators, specifically in charge of transmigrators matters. This gave him hope. So I simply came to the church entrance. I came specifically to wait for this Suhaid, even though I don't know anything about him. But since they are all transmigrators, they will definitely help each other. And so we waited. I've been waiting since morning until now. Suhaid City. Sorry to keep you waiting, everyone. I've been quite busy with church matters, came an apologetic voice from Hall. The group looked up at the sound and saw Suhaid, dressed in a saint's robe, striding towards them. Sure Hemming and the others immediately stood up, pressed their hands tightly to their thighs, and bowed. "Mr. Suhaid, we apologize for our uninvited visit and hope you will not take offense." Suhaid smiled, sat down, looked at Shi Heming, and asked, "What brings you all here?" He knew the origins of these people. They were sent by the Sea Tribe to discuss matters with the council. However, I have had no contact with these people and do not know them at all. I was curious about their purpose in coming here so suddenly. Shi Heming turned around and looked back. The person behind him immediately placed a brocade box containing silk on the table and unwrapped the silk. "I heard that Mr. Suhaid has become a member of Parliament, and I have long wanted to make his acquaintance with him. This is a sea creature item that I acquired by chance. The morning blue coral is just right to give to Mr. Suhaid. Please don't find it offensive." The brocade box was opened, revealing sparkling blue coral inside. It was exceptionally dazzling and beautiful under the sunlight. Morning blue coral? Suhaid's eyes lit up instantly. Although he didn't know what value this thing had, he had seen it in the Archbishop's study. If it can be placed in the Archbishop's room, then it must be an extremely rare treasure. Now, I'm starting to get a little tempted. It wasn't that he liked the item, but rather that giving it to the Archbishop would be a thoughtful gesture. Although Suhaid was tempted, he didn't look at it much. After just one glance, I looked away. He continued, "What is it? Tell me, and let me see if I have the ability to help you." He's not stupid. His current position didn't come easily. Naturally, I wouldn't accept things from other people indiscriminately. "Mr. Suhaid, you misunderstand. We genuinely intend to get to know you. We have no other ulterior motives," Shi Heming said immediately. Suhaid frowned as she looked at him, somewhat confused about what the other person meant. "They come to give gifts out of the blue, and the gifts are quite valuable, just to make friends? When did I become so domineering?" If he hadn't died a couple of days ago, he might have actually believed it. "Just say what you want to say, otherwise I won't dare accept this," Suhaid said again. Shi Heming maintained his smile. After thinking for a moment, he said, "Speaking of which, we really will need Mr. Suhaid's help in the future. Tell me about it. As you know, we were born on an island of the sea race, a place that simply cannot support our future development. So, if there is an opportunity in the future, we may settle in the Federation. We hope Mr. Suhaid will take good care of us then," Shi Heming said softly. The reason this morning blue coral was given to Suhaid was because of his status as a transmigrator's representative. This opportunity will also allow me to build some connections. That way, we can have a connection in the future. Hearing these words, Suhaid smiled again, subtly put away the brocade box, and said, "Someone, this tea has gone cold. Please get some fresh tea for everyone." Dust Mud Valley. The air around us was hot and dry. If this weren't a barren, rocky mountain, it would probably have started a wildfire. And Jia and Bayo both hid at the back of the group. Dimitrika, as a lizard man, had a thin layer of skin peel off from his body due to the heat and dryness. "My lord, the battlefield has been cleaned up, and here is the spoils." One after another, carts were pushed over, with the collected materials arranged in categories. 3211 wriggling spines, 572 demon teeth, 123 hard hooves, 75 demon essences, and 5 forgotten souls. A wriggling spine, more than 3,000. This completely made up for the losses incurred during the battle, and even resulted in an additional gain. The uses of Demon Fang, Hard Hoof, and Demon Essence are currently unclear, but it must be a rare material, since demons themselves are very rare. In addition, each of them is quite capable. The value of the materials must also be considerable. What delighted Fang Hao the most were the 5 forgotten souls. With these 5, it means you can recruit another 505 Nisbets and elevate them to hero status. At that time, it will truly be a team composed of heroes. It was a resounding success. My lord, there's also this weapon, which was dug out of a deep pit. Dimitrika then handed over a dark red, menacing greatsword. The hilt was covered with raised, dense scales, and the blade gleamed with faint sparks. Fang of Hatred, orange. Category, greatsword. Damage, level 5 damage. Abilities, blazing flames, hatred, burning flame. Each attack deals an additional 150% fire damage. Hatred increases burning flame effect by 5% every 10 minutes. Reduces the holder's sanity by 5%, gradually recovers upon stopping combat. Description: a sword that emerges from the furnace of hell, imbued with hatred and malice, causing every wielder to lose their way in battle. It was the great sword used by that demon hero. He wielded this very sword and single-handedly held off the attacking undead. It has a kind of one man can hold off 10,000 kind of presence. This weapon has reached orange. It was the highest quality weapon he obtained besides the Thunder Eagle blade he already possessed. It has level 5 damage and comes with a very powerful skill. The second skill also increases damage, but it also reduces sanity. A lack of rationality can turn a person into a beast, driven solely by the pursuit of battle. It's also very troublesome. Even after the fighting stops, they will gradually recover. But if you don't control it properly, like today, the enemy will hold you back. It is also extremely dangerous. Didn't find any treasure chests or anything like that? Fang Hao put all the materials in the orange weapon into his storage space. Dimitrika shook his head. Not yet. It's possible it's in the cave. Okay, then let's wait until the fire gets a little smaller. Yes, sir. Bite. Ma Tianyi opened the City Lord's book again. Within the Alliance channel, someone else was asking him about the progress of the battle. At Ma Tianyi, Alliance leader, how's it going on your end? Which side won? Yes, there are so many mosquitoes here. Should we move or go back? I've done some quick calculations, and Fang Hao should have won by now. So much time has passed. It's uncertain. The outcome is still unpredictable until the very end. Ma Tianyi glanced at the raging fire ahead. The input said, let's go back. Fang Hao has already won and is doing the final cleanup. Don't spread the battle situation here, in case anything unexpected happens. Holy crap, we really won. Really? Alliance leader, don't lie to me. Is Fang Hao this terrifying now? Ma Tianyi deliberately avoided the undead soldier below, took a picture of the collapsed demon camp, and sent it over. Although it was different from what they had seen before, they could still recognize Dust Mud Valley at a glance. It's Dust Mud Valley. They really cleansed the demons. So powerful, so domineering. Great, I can go home now. I don't have to walk anymore. Ma Tianyi also sent a message saying, the vice leader led the team back and sent everyone back to their respective cities. Receive. The fire burned until the afternoon. The situation calmed down slightly. After all, once the body was burned inside the mountain, there was nothing left to ignite. The speed at which it will be wiped out will also be fast. The lingering heat in the valley was like standing on a fiery mountain, stifling and uncomfortable. Fang Hao controls the demon puppet, directing the undead to carry out their final tasks. Standing in front of the stone gate, after glancing inside, he led Soldier in and strode in. Inside the cave, everything was blackened by the fire. Those corpses, with their fleshy tentacles, all vanished. It had already been burned to ashes. When we led Soldier to the end of the cave, the embryo was nothing but a dried-up lump, hanging there like a piece of cured meat. But the notification has disappeared, so it must be dead. Even with such a large fire, it wasn't completely burned. It's quite sturdy. Chop this into minced meat, Fang Hao ordered. The skeleton warriors behind him immediately rushed forward and unleashed a flurry of blows. Judging from its appearance, it was indeed sturdy and didn't seem like meat, but it was still chopped into pieces. After confirming that there was no danger, Fang Hao continued, all right, scroll around in the cave and see if there are any loot items. Pay special attention to treasure chests and the like. Receiving their orders again, the skeletons dispersed once more and began searching everywhere. Fang Hao also focused his attention on the stone platform beneath his feet. The membrane covering the Tai Sui had been burned away by the fire, revealing its original appearance underneath. This really is a huge altar. Even though it's completely unrecognizable, some remaining symbols can still be seen. It seems that Ma Tianyi and his group have reopened the place that others had previously sealed. Fortunately, it did not cause too much damage. After looking inside for a while, Fang Hao went outside and waited for the skeletons to search. Soon, the skeletons that had been searching the cave began to emerge one after another. Bang! With a dull thud, a golden treasure chest was thrown to the ground. As soon as the entire treasure chest was taken out, a cloud of white smoke rose up instantly. This treasure chest should belong to the system. The fire cannot burn it out. Otherwise, the temperature would have been ruined long ago. Without much hesitation, he opened the treasure chest. The Regent's Banner Crafts Blueprint, purple. The Chaos Armor Crafts Blueprint, purple. Warfire Coin 182. Demon Stone 23. There aren't many varieties, but the quality is decent. 2 purple blueprints appeared at once. Regent's Battle Banner. Tough Wood 1, Leather 5, Linen 12, Yarn 22, Silk 5, Metal Parts 12. Description: a battle banner to boost army morale. Blueprint of the battle flag. This has never happened before. Every city and region has its own flag. For example, Silverwing City has a blue background with a silver sword and wings on its flag. The Hall of Justice and the church also have their own flags. In short, a flag represents identity, allowing people to immediately identify which faction you belong to. It is also very important. With this blueprint, you can also make a battle flag if needed. However, morale is of little use to the undead, unless used by the living beings unit. Chaos Armor. Tough Leather 15, Cast Iron Block 12, Fine Iron 5, Metal Parts 22, Demon Fong 1. Description: represents a chaotic and disordered battle armor. So that's where the Demon Fong is used. Something resembling a wild beast's fong was actually the material used to make the armor. It's simply incomprehensible, but the Chaos Armor is actually not bad. Purple Armor, it's just a pity it's not a set. We'll see how big it is then, and whether it's suitable for export. I carefully packed away the blueprint, and was about to shout, "Let's retreat." Then another skeleton warrior squeezed through. He was holding a sheet of paper in his hand. Demon Codex Fragment. The Demon's Fragment. I saw the demonic fragment in the skeleton's hand. Fang Hao was startled. No way, am I really that lucky? I found another copy of Demon Codex here. I remember, the previous page was a torn piece. It was found in a dry well left behind by the demon. After absorbing the demon fragments, Lord's Book activated its storage space function. Although the area is not large, it has begun to meet some resource storage needs. I wonder what functions this second one will enable. Taking the tattered page from Skeleton Warrior, he waved his hand and said, "Let's go back." Splash. The skeleton warriors began to retreat outwards, leaving the valley. Outside the valley, the spirits that emerged from Ma Tianyi knew that the war was over. After hesitating for a moment, he still approached the carriage. He whispered, "Boss Fang Hao, is it over inside? Did they win?" The carriage curtain was pulled open. "Well, it's over. All the demons inside have been cleared out. As for the demons scattered around the perimeter, you can deal with them one by one from now on." Upon hearing his confirmation, Ma Tianyi's expression immediately lit up with joy. "This is wonderful. Does that mean we can all go back to our own cities?" He had already notified the League staff to begin returning, but he still subconsciously asked a question. Fang Hao nodded. "You can go back now. You are now the subordinate city lord of the territory. It would be best to assign all the alliance members to your subordinates so that you can manage them in a unified way. The fragmented alliance system is not suitable for future development." Ma Tianyi pondered for a moment, then nodded and said, "I understand. When I get back today, I will discuss this matter with everyone and unify the alliance into the territory. Yes, I still have some enemies outside. There are some things I shouldn't publicize in the channel, lest the enemies notice something." "Don't worry, boss, I know all that." During their conversation, all the undead soldiers in the camp were also withdrawn. With a shout, the army began its return journey. Inside the carriage, Fang Hao included several blueprints. His gaze returned to the Demon Fragment. Demon Codex Fragment. Category: Treasure Trove Fragments. Ability: Dimensional Gate. Dimensional Gate: an improved teleportation portal based on interdimensional gate technology. It creates a link in space, and opening the dimensional gate teleports the target to the user's location. Demonic Dimensional Gate Magic, commonly used for summoning demonic units. Opening the dimensional gate allows reinforcements to arrive. Description: Demon Codex Fragment. Collect all the fragments to obtain the complete Demon Codex. This time, the capability provided is not storage space. It is called the Dimensional Gate. The description of Dimensional Gate is somewhat vague, but a simple explanation later emerged. It was a magic gate for summoning reinforcements. To put it simply, it's just a teleportation array that can summon units to your side through the Dimensional Gate. That really is a pretty good ability. This not only increased their own safety, but also facilitated future attacks. By using the Lord's Book to absorb the fragments, an additional blueprint was created. Dimensional Gate. Finestone Bricks 150, Metal Parts 22, Demon Stone 6, Mana Essence 3. Description: The initial Dimensional Gate allows the construction of barracks, Hidden Arms Cave, and other unit buildings, facilitating the rapid arrival of units after the Dimensional Gate is deployed. Forehead. This isn't something you can just place anywhere like a teleportation light screen. An initial Dimensional Gate needs to be set. It seems to be more complicated than I thought. I'll try again when I get back. Silverwing City, Commercial Street. After a few shouts, several of the city's most famous opera singers ascended the platform and began their performance. Nearby shopkeepers and residents alike were drawn to the lively scene, crowding the road to watch the performance. Which store is so lively? They've even invited some of the most famous people from the opera house. Yes, actors that only noble gentlemen can see are actually appearing on this occasion today. So we can also watch the performance. Which store is it? I heard that they initially disagreed, but the boss immediately doubled the price. What kind of person couldn't they hire? Brother, which store is it? There are too many people. I can't see the sign. Xianming Tower? How could you be so stupid? Wasn't this the location of Xianming Tower before? Compared to Vanessa's hot pot restaurant, this cosmetic shop is easier to prepare. After basic renovation and cleaning, use Transmigrators trading feature to display all kinds of cosmetics in your shop. They opened for business immediately. Hot pot restaurants are different. The kitchen, staff, tables, chairs, and ingredients all need time to prepare, so it will still be some time before they open. Li Rong stood with her arms crossed at the second-floor window, looking at the gathered crowd, and nodded. She is quite satisfied with the amount of attention she received today. After today, the first thing all the ladies in the city will know is that Xianming Tower has reopened and launched a glamorous aristocratic collection. Li Rong scoffed at the opera singers below. I disagreed before, thinking it was shameful to perform in such a setting. Even after she doubled the price, she still readily agreed. I just got the money from Fang Hao. I'm rich and powerful, and I can't even take you guys down. Tap, tap, tap. Just then, footsteps sounded behind them. Then, the voice of the Sword of Chivalry was heard outside the door. Sir, the gentlemen from Chinatown have arrived. Li Rong turned around, nodded, and said, let them bring it over. The door opened. A group of male and female transmigrators walked in, their faces beaming with smiles. Oh my, Sister Li, your business is booming. Your business is booming. Sister Li, may your fortune prosper. Sister Li is really capable. Now this Xianming Tower is completely Sister Li's storefront. Besides, it's Xianming Tower. The hot pot restaurant across the street that's under renovation also belongs to Sister Li. Sister Li, please continue to support us then. Everyone smiled broadly and clasped their hands in congratulations. Having been betrayed by transmigrators before, Li Rong was more wary of these people. But in this city, with heroes protecting me, my safety is still guaranteed. Moreover, Su Haid is now in power and is trying to win over Chinatown. She also needs more prestige to get these people on her side. He smiled and said a few humble words. He said, thank you all. I will not forget you once I have gained my footing. That's it. That's it. Li Rong continued. Tonight, everyone should come to Dragon Soaring Swallow Restaurant to celebrate together. From now on, we're family here, and we should help each other. Okay, I'll do as Sister Li says. That's right. I haven't been to Long Tenjian yet. Sister Li is awesome. Transmigrators offer rapid communication speeds. The area around Silverwing City is bustling with activity, with people constantly taking photos and posting them on regional channels. This Li Rong is no ordinary person. She bought a shop in Silverwing City so quickly? Did she hook up with some aristocratic old man? It might not have been bought, right? Didn't someone say it was rented before? Don't make wild guesses. Li Rong is more powerful than you think. One of her identities is a mage in the Mage Association, and the association's president is her teacher. Mage Association? I've never met a mage before. So, Li Rong has already established herself in Silverwing City and squeezed into the circle of the elite. I heard she's quite good looking. Are there any men out there? I want to give it a try. Try what? With her current status, would she lack men? We don't need one more, and it won't make a difference. Besides, I was the top performer back in the day. So it's Brother Duck. My apologies for not recognizing you. After leaving Dust Mud Valley, Fang Hao changed to a skeleton horse and rode alongside Ma Tianyi. The reason I sat in the carriage during the previous battle was mainly because the quiet and private environment was more suitable for casting divine descent. It will not be affected by the external environment. Now that the war is over, I can finally get some fresh air. Boss Fang Hao, a few days ago, when I met with Bai Xian, the leader of Straw Hat Navigation Group, she mentioned a member who is still looking for you. Ma Tianyi casually mentioned the events of the previous 2 days. Straw Hat Navigation Group. He used to really enjoy watching this anime. Surprisingly, some One Piece fans even used this name as the name of their faction. Fortunately, it was called a sailing group. If it had been called a pirate group, it would have been wiped out by the local forces. Oh, he's looking for me. Does he know me? Fang Hao was also a little curious. A sailing group should be by the sea, so why would they come all this way to find me? I did hear some of what Bai Xian said, and it's actually quite infuriating. Ma Tianyi paused for a moment before continuing. There's a member in their alliance named Su Yuanhang, who leads his militia and crew to trade goods by land and sea. Hearing that a story was about to be told, and Jia, who was riding a horse nearby, also came over. He took out a handful of dried fruit from his small crossbody bag and started crunching away while listening. Fang Hao glanced at it from the side. Good heavens! All this red general dried fruit is yours now, Ma Tianyi continued. Then he was discovered by the sea creatures and the Japanese transmigrators, who stole his cargo, locked everyone in the cabin, sank the ship, and drowned them. Only he survived by chance, but he seemed to be mentally traumatized. He searched everywhere for someone to help him take revenge, but who could defeat the sea creatures at sea? No one agreed to help him. He took a deep breath and continued. Later, he said he was going to find you, sir, and that you would definitely help him. And then he left. This, Fang Hao frowned slightly. But I never expected it to be such a story. He did not doubt the story's authenticity. After being transported here, without the constraints of rules, people's greed will be amplified infinitely. The conflict within the channel, stemming from disputes among the transmigrators, has never ceased. They help the natives oppress the transmigrators, luring them away in the name of the alliance, and then selling them as slaves. Such incidents are not uncommon. Therefore, the authenticity of the story is not in doubt. Even the native city lords along the coast wouldn't bother with something as trivial as this. What? Are there still things to do with the Japanese? According to Bai Xian, the Japanese are helping the sea people to negotiate with the Federation. Silverwing City, across the street from the church, Su Yuanhang, like a beggar, limped and leaned against the garbage heap. As darkness fell, he still hadn't found the person he was looking for. My stomach started rumbling. If he doesn't see Su Haid before dark, he'll have to go back to Chinatown and come back tomorrow. More than an hour later, Su Yuanhang stood up, leaning on a wooden stick. The 3 militiamen beside him, who were also somewhat disheveled, stood up as well. Just as I was about to leave, I suddenly stopped. A horse-drawn carriage slowly came to a stop in front of the church. A tall man wearing a robe with obvious church patterns. Su Yuanhang carefully examined it. Long black hair, a high-nose bridge, deep-set eyes, and blue eyes. Su Haid.